What's up, ladies and gentlemen? You're now watching Kinetic Outcome, and we are with Warren.
Hi.
One of the top advocates of skateboarding in Hong Kong. Pleasure to meet you.
Hey, Hector, pleasure to meet you.
And thank you for your time. So, Warren, a quick introduction of yourself since you were a little child to growing up.
Wow, that's almost half a century. Okay, well, basically everyone who knows me knows I love skateboarding. It's just by accident, I guess. My first skateboard, I got it when I was a kid. Maybe in the 70s, my dad got me this little skateboard. Nothing like this. Just ride around and have fun. And for a period, I started to roller skate a lot. You know, I just kind of liked the feeling of rolling around on wheels, you know? And then I stopped for maybe 10 years. And then in my teen years, when I was in high school in the UK, I came across Skateparks. UK has a lot of very old skateparks. So I was looking at, wow, you know, this looks fun. You know, and it kind of feels cool too. I went out, bought a skateboard, found a skate shop, and that's when I came across skate videos of the time. And that was when it really hooked me. I was like, wow, I didn't know you can do stuff like this on a skateboard. You know, like street skating in the mid-80s started to really kick off. So I was in London at the time, so I was like, wow, you know, there's a big skate park right outside my front door, you know, like curbs, ledges, less riding around. I used to go skating with my bro, Daryl. I don't know if you know Daryl. Yeah, so it's like
DJ, yeah?
DJ Daryl.
Shout out.
Yeah. We used to skate the streets of London every night, you know, in those years. And that's where it all started. Over the years, during like Easter or summer holiday, I'd come back to Hong Kong. And I vividly remember my first trip back. I left my skateboard in London because I thought, oh, Hong Kong, you know, doesn't have any of this. So I came back to Hong Kong, and I was just wandering around with some friends, and I came across this skate shop in Wan Chai. It's like a bicycle shop. And there were a group of skaters that's setting up their board, and I was like, oh my God, you know, there's skaters here in Hong Kong. And you know, back in those days, if you're a skater, automatically homies. You know, there was another guy across the road. I remember he was wearing like an Airwalk cap and some other skate brand t-shirt. And then I was wearing, I can't remember what skate brand t-shirt I was wearing. And from across the road, we eyeballed each other, and it was like, yo, you know, and then like gravitate towards each other and like, hey, you skate? Yeah, I skate. Because, you know, it's like a uniform. Skate brands then was like a uniform, you know. No non-skaters wore skate brands, okay, because it was so hard to come across. So I was like, where are you from? What's your name? Where do you skate? And I found out he skates in Sha Tin. And he said, oh, I skate in Sha Tin. This is my number. Back then, no mobile phone, right? So number and pager number. So I said, okay, let's hook up. Let's go skate. So that was the beginning of my skateboarding in Hong Kong. But I was living at the UK at the time. A few years passed. I think this was like the late 80s, 88, 89. I moved back to Hong Kong. And then like started skating with those friends I met, with their friends. And I found out Hong Kong had a big community of skaters, you know, like maybe 30, 40 people. We used to meet up every Wednesday, Saturday night, go street skating. From Wan Chai, bomb all the way down to Central, take the ferry to Tsim Sha Tsui, bomb all over Tsim Sha Tsui. Because, you know, Central, Tsim Sha Tsui, just a big skate park, right? Space Museum, Jardine House, all that steps and banks, you know, you just skate those until you get kicked out. That's what we used to do. Fun as hell, it was the best time. I think maybe late or early 1990, 1991, that's when I met my good friend, Thabo. And I was working a night job at the time, like a hotel job. Didn't have much time to skate. When I worked regular shift, the only time I had to skate was nighttime. And when I work overnight shift, you know, there's no one else to skate with because everyone was working. So I met Thabo, and then we both skated with each other late night. Because, you know, he was an engineer, so we were kind of like in the same predicament, right? You know, he had a 9-to-5 job, I had a 9-to-5 job. So we skate together in Tsim Sha Tsui for months. And then the idea came up. He said, hey, you know, like let's do a skate shop.
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
Yeah. And then like the reason he wanted to do a skate shop was at the time I was doing a lot of mail order. I called my skate business the Underground Skates at the time. So I get friends, and you know, who wanted to buy boards, I just like do a mail order for everyone. So like you get less shipping costs, and you know, like my partner was like, hey, you know about this stuff, let's do a skate shop. So that's how the skate shop started in 1991. All right, so into the skateboard business, and that's when, you know, skate culture really started to blow up. That was kind of like the university of my life, you know, when you're running a business, you don't know what you're doing, and you meet a lot of people, you learn about life. Okay, that didn't last too long. Right before 97, around mid 96, like a mass exodus in Hong Kong, a lot of changes happening. So what we did is we closed the shop because it wasn't sustainable. The rent was just doubling and tripling. Okay, and then we went our own ways. Thabo followed his career as a designer, and I just continued my regular 9 to 5, but I kept skating. Around the same time, skateboarding kind of got really big. It's all the skate spots, all the skate spots in Hong Kong were getting more and more popular. People were getting kicked out. So around that period when we started to petition for a skate park. And then I think the most famous skate spot at the time was a place called Immigration Tower in Wan Chai. Every weekend, Wednesday evening, it'd be packed with hundreds of skaters. And then the government would actually spend money to demolish the ledges and benches to stop people skating. They would invest in skate stoppers to stop people skating. So part of that petition then was, rather than spend all this money to stop people from skating here, put that money in a place to draw people away to skate, right? I remember they redecorated Immigration Tower at least 3 or 4 times to skate stop it. And you know how much that costs? I have no idea. It must cost millions and millions. So why don't put that money in a place like this? And draw the people in here, a safe area, so there's no complaint, no hazard, nothing. So that was the beginning of the journey. So we had Chai Wan Skate Park, Mei Fu Skate Park, Lai Chi Kok, the original one. And then there were some existing skate parks, but those aren't like anything we had today, like Morrison Hill, that's just a track. There was one in Sheung Wan, which is just a flat ground. And there's another skate park in Tin Shui Wai, right, which is just like another flat ground roller skatering. So back in the day, the government just used to give a roller skatering and put the sign that says designated skate park. But no one went to skate because they lacked the understanding of what skateboarders needed. It's like having a basketball court and then put a sign there, say this is for football. Right? They're ball sports anyway, just go there and do it. So that was the attitude of the government back then. So we slowly changed it, okay, over years and years of petitioning, many generations of those civil servants. Some of them, from the worst, they would unofficially say to me, right, son, take what you can now. This is good enough, better than what you had. Don't try and, give us more trouble. I'm retiring next year. Talk to the next guy. It was literally upfront like that. Like, basically just telling me, don't fuck with me, because I want to retire next year. I don't want any trouble. Take what we're giving you. Right? So that was 30 years ago. And it's that mentality in the civil servant. Like, you're up there in your cushy job, you don't want to do anything, don't rock the boat. Any changes come up, no one wants to stick their neck out to make changes because it's their neck on the line. Right? So it's a long, painful journey. Like, give you an example, we had all the skate parks done, all these new skate parks, and then scooter became popular. Stunt scooter?
Yeah.
Despite a lot of negative attitude to scooters around the world, but scooter users have a right to use a skate park. You can't just say, oh, because they're scooters, they're lame, they have no right to use it. Every roller sport, every kid has the right to go to a skate park and feel rad, to enjoy it. Maybe the scooter will switch to skateboarder, maybe he'll switch to inline, but right, the principle is everyone has the right to use a skate park. So we petitioned to allow scooter in skate park. It took 10 years to approve, 10 years. 10 years, and then it's like, you can't imagine how come it take 10 years? Because what I mentioned earlier, passing the buck, and then after passing the buck, obstructionist policy. Oh, but this skate park was built for extreme sport. That's skateboarding, BMX, and inline. Let's check with the manufacturer. So they write a letter to the manufacturer. Oh, we want to include scootering. Is it okay for scootering? Is it designed for scootering? In terms of liability, if a scooter uses this park and something happens, will your company bear any responsibility? Of course, no sane company is going to take liability and write that down in black and white. So it's this like tug of war going around with the government department, the manufacturers, various associations, until we said, look, a scooter is now under roller sport. As a roller sport governing body, we're telling you it's the same. It's okay. And then that process took 10 years. So that's why you see scooter kids here now. And most of them are not even 10 years old.
So it's like if you live on average 80 years, it only gives you an opportunity to make 8 changes.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, but the good news is that you saw the managers earlier. Yeah, they're younger. The managers working in LCSD today, they're younger. They're more open-minded and they're more receptive to change. They have their ear closer to the ground. They know what young people want. So compared to the managers or the civil servants 20, 30 years ago who are very conservative, unwilling to change, the ones today, they're more receptive to change and trying to adapt and make things happen. All right, so that's a plus. So that's why you see more and more skate parks coming. Because I think, I'm just guessing, you don't take my word for it, but I think the government had this experimental attitude to skate parks. When they first built the first one in 2001, they looked at how popular it is, and they had all these fears about management, people crashing into each other, people dying. The worst scenario, nightmare you can think of, that's what they're thinking of. But I think over time, they saw how it actually worked. And then like with all these new users, look at this, he's older than me. We have users from 6 to 60. So you can say, okay, this is, and it's now in the Olympics. It's now a legit recognized sport. So all that add together to give skateboarding really good credibility and a status. And that's all plus for us. So like government officials, government districts, they're all receptive. Like some user, resident in that area would write to the district council and say, oh, we need a skate park here. I can't make the trek out to TKO all the time. It's really far. I want like something near our district. So they're like, okay, we'll look at that. The district council will say, okay, we got these unused parks. Can we modify them? So like in certain districts, they have these unused patches of like sitting out areas or playgrounds that dilapidated, unused for decades. And they're like, hey, Warren, come and have a look. Do you think we can put a skate park here? I'm like, hell yeah. It doesn't have to be like top one like this. It could be a size of a basketball court, put a few ledges there, a few banks. Kids will have mad fun. Right? You don't have to have like a lychee cock in every district. You just have to have little pockets, little spots everywhere, so the kids can skate. Out of the streets, out of the traffic, right? And then just imagine how hopping districts like what we used to do. We used to go from Wan Chai to Central to Sheung Wan to Tsim Sha Tsui and skate all those 3 districts in one night, hitting different spots. Just imagine the modern version. Right, you're in Wan Chai, there's a small skate park there, and then you go to Causeway Bay, there's another one there, maybe North Point, there's one there, and then your day's done because you're tired from skating all these little different tiny skate parks. And on another day, you're like, okay, I want to really ride transition, learn how to skate that boat, and they come here. There's like got bowls here. So that's my vision. It's already happening. Like skateboarding around the world, growing. But here in Hong Kong, we have a really strong street scene. We have skate parks that emulate street. We have skate parks that, traditional park and bowl. So there's something for everyone.
So earlier it was a quick intro, but we kind of finished the whole thing in that part.
Oh my goodness.
So you aced the second question, so great for that. And
you can ask the question, edit it back in.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You answered everything.
Okay.
And the next question is, with you doing skate throughout these years, what were the most rewarding opportunities or moments that you've ever had? Because it always opens doors. And what were, of course, the hard times?
Well, that's a very interesting question, because I had the same or similar question from a lot of close friends and even my family. They're like, why are you doing this? You're not getting paid, or it's not paying you enough. All right, so like a lot of my peers, like I started with a skate shop in the 90s. That didn't work out, and then I stepped away from skate shop business. All right, and I started that website, HK Skateboarding, which now lives as a Facebook page, because back then there was only one Hong Kong skateboarding website, which is the website I did updating about news. I just wanted to network people together. I wanted to keep the skaters together. But I think since then there's dozens of different versions of that. And so because it's growing by itself. Through that website, I had ideas of doing a skate magazine. I had ideas about doing skate brands, just something involved with skateboarding. But the market at the time wasn't as big as it is now. All right, and there was no way to compete with the global brands. Like for example, if I did a skateboard brand back in the 90s, no one's gonna want to buy that brand. They want to buy like something cool, right? For the same thing. So it was that kind of dilemma back then. So then I thought, well, all right, I'll just focus on work. You got to pay the bills. So I focused on my work, and then I could afford to follow my passion. Because I didn't rely on my passion to make a living. But there's a saying that if you do a job that you love, it's not working, you know. So of course that was my goal. Imagine if I do skateboarding every day and get paid for it, you know, that would be great. But back then, early, I realized that wasn't possible. So I was kind of living like Cape Crusader lifestyle, you know, Batman and, you know, Bruce Wayne, that type of thing, Superman, Clark Kent. So I had my day job in a suit and tie, and I had my skateboard persona, 2 different personas. To some extent, it still exists today. It's kind of funny. But that allowed me a lot of leeway, a lot of reach in what I really wanted to do with skateboarding. And I'll tell you why, because I had no direct conflict of interest. Many countries, you'd have like people involved in the skateboarding business, like skate shops or skate brands. They want to do a contest or they want to be in the association, and then they'll be like, oh, you can't actually chair the association because you own a skate brand. Or you know, it happens in other associations, right? The whole Hong Kong team or national team using a certain brand bought from a certain shop that's the shop of the chairman. You know, it's ugly, right? You know, but it happens all around the world. So that's just an example. But with my role, I come out, I had no affiliation to anyone, even though all the shops are my good friends. You know, like one of the top skate shop in Hong Kong, the owner is my best friend. I know I support them because they're good friends of mine, but there was no direct influence. You know, I didn't gain from, you know, my friend selling stuff, right? Or I didn't gain from doing ads from him, or indirectly, you know, plugging his brand name, right? I was able to push my agenda easier with the government because I came as a kind of neutral advocate, if that's the right word. Extreme Sport Association and the Roller Sport Association. And of course, coming from the job that I did, that professional job that I did, helped with my credential because I'm not just some skater. In the early days, I was just some skater kid. Who the hell's this guy, right? But when I came across, like, gave them my name card, they knew who I worked for, they knew what my, you know, like what my job was, then they kind of take you a little bit more seriously. And this is just like the fact of life, right? If you're just some regular guy, no one knows who you are or what you do, they just like try to brush you off. But if you come at them and with the right facts, the right method, and they know who you are and where you're coming from, they will listen. Even if they're gonna play you off and give you lip service, they will still reply to you some bullshit, even if they rather than just ignoring you, right? So that persistence together with how I did it, you know, helped me, you know, reach where we are today. But to answer your question, I haven't actually achieved anything for myself, right? For myself, what I've achieved, I'm very happy, very proud of being like the head of the Hong Kong team, the head of the association here, being selected as one of the panel judges for World Skate. So in 2019, we did like the World Championship for the Olympics, right? Like, you know, the feeder event. So I was one of the judges there. I was a judge in the Southeast Asian game for Philippines. I was the head judge in the Asian game in Palembang and various other Asian games. So I'm really happy of that because that's a recognition of my skateboarding knowledge and also a reflection of my unbiased attitude. Something I'm really proud of because it's very hard to be unbiased in skateboarding. In life generally, you have a tendency to like something more, right? But to be a judge, I think you have to be able to find a way to put all that bias aside and see something for what it is. All right, it's like when I advocated for scooters to be included in the skate park, I had a lot of slack. They're like, why you know, I seem to have offended a lot of skateboarders because I was speaking up for the scooters. But it's that kind of, if you put aside the scooter, look at the kid. He just wants to go to the skate park to ride. It could be a skateboard, it could be a scooter, but go back to that feeling when you were like 12 years old. You're like, I'm bummed I can't go and skate. Who's gonna stick up for that kid, right? So that's kind of like what I kind of like really proud of. Okay, I mean, if I did something that actually helped some kid, right? But you know, it's like, you know, it's not like you have to put it up on a placard or something. But when I see kids scootering, sometimes they do get annoying and in the way, but at the end of the day, I mean, at least, hey, some kids having fun in a place we built for everyone, right? So I think to be a judge, you have to be able to do that. Just sort of you have your opinions, you have your likes and dislikes, but when you judge, you have to put all that aside and see what you're judging for what it is and score accordingly. If you know what I mean, like just strip everything down to the bare fact of the thing and then like put that score in there. Of course, that's the ideal judge. No one's perfect. There's going to be influences here and there and everywhere. So like in a proper judging, that's why there's 5 judges and a head judge. The head judge doesn't score, the 5 judges give score, and then the head judge kind of like invigilates, if that's the right word, you know, to manage these judges to make sure the score is fair. So yeah, it's part of being human, I guess. So like I was very lucky to be head judge many occasions and judge on a few occasions, learning from the real pros. When I did the Olympic qualifier, I was judging with like skateboard legends. So that's kind of like a dream come true, right? And then like the people skating in front of me, world class. The guys we drool looking at videos or magazine, I was sitting there judging them. How amazing is that? For me, that was just like, wow, that was so cool. I mean, even though I'm 52, like the 15-year-old in me came out. I couldn't help fanning out. I was like, wow, you know, like I'm doing this. This is not real. But then snap back into reality. Okay, more reason I can't fuck up. You know, I got to do this right. I can't mess this up. You know, I can't blow this because this is important for these guys. You know. So yeah, other achievement. I think when I take my kid skating, and I never really told my kid much. But one day, he's 8 years old now. He said, "Hey, Dad, did you build all the skate parks?" I said, "Yeah, kind of." And then he goes to the other kids, "Hey, you know my dad built these skate parks." It's kind of funny, but I'm kind of really stoked that my kid, oh, okay, you know, my dad really loves skateboarding and I like skating, but you know, he built these parks. He doesn't really see the magnitude of it, but he's just like, yeah, my dad's really cool. He built these skate parks, you know. So I think that's cool. That's good enough for me.
Okay.
You know?
That's still pretty cool.
That's good enough for me. I mean, in terms of success, monetary gain or anything, I mean, I wouldn't say the significant ones. You know, there are the ads here and there. Maybe you've seen those ads I've done in the age of YouTube and Instagram. So there's certain brands that sponsor me, and yeah, I do stuff here and there. But it's not like significant. It's not like I can live off it. It's not like an achievement. But I just like to be able to keep doing what I'm doing as long as I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the next question, I guess you can summarize this in a shorter perspective. What tip would you like to give to people who want to become really great at skate?
Great at skateboarding?
Yep.
Wow, okay. Interesting you asked this question. A mom contacted me on Instagram a few weeks ago. Big. I was like, whoa. It turned out her kid, maybe he's 10 or 11. I don't know the background, a lot of problems maybe, but his kid really likes skateboarding. And the mom asked me that exact same question. How can my boy become really good at skateboarding? He's dreaming, he wants to be a pro skater. He wants to, you know, do that. So wow, it's such a difficult question to answer because it's a very delicate balance. You don't want to be, all right, I work hard every day, I'm going to skate hard every day, you know, have that approach. And then unless you're really talented, you fail and you won't be able to take that failure. It's gonna tear you apart. All right. So I remember this quote from Steve Caballero. You remember Steve Caballero? As a pro skater, OG pro skater from the Bones Brigade, Steve Caballero. I saw a post of him, and then he said like something like, "Never skate if you don't love it," or something on those lines. You know, like if you have the passion for skating, but you skate because you love skateboarding. Okay, and then let that love, let that energy flow through and become you. You know, but I don't know, it makes some sense because like the only reason why I skate is I like skating. I remember years ago filming for a video. I was under pressure. I couldn't get that shot. And I've seen it with other pros too. I've seen Danny experience it too, and Danny films the other pros. It's like the skaters and under so much stress to perform that it's no longer fun. I gotta do that trick. I gotta get that shot. You spend days and days and days, and after you're done, you don't want to skate anymore. That's like, fuck this shit. That's part of being pro. To answer your question, like the way I answered that mom is like, you know, follow your passion, follow your heart. I mean, I could say something like, okay, skate every day, focus on it, a very scholastic approach. You know, like, well, what a gymnastic coach would tell you. You gotta practice every day, you gotta learn all your tricks, learn these tricks and then learn that trick, perfect it, practice until it becomes second nature. You want to be like 𝙎𝙪𝙩𝙧𝙧, skate 16 hours a day. And then like, yeah, you'll get to that certain level and, you know, like, you'll make it. That's only half the story. That's maybe a third of the story. I think the half of the story is you gotta have that passion for it. Because you're gonna reach certain points in your life where you gotta make a choice. I see it with a lot of kids, all right? They skate really good, and then they reach that point in their life where they gotta make a choice. Do I go to uni, or do I put school on hold for a couple of years so I can just go all for this? You gotta put yourself in that position where you're so confident that you can say, all right, I'm gonna put this on hold for 2 years, I'm just gonna go all in, right? Make or break it. But with the attitude, if I make it, I'm a pro skater, right? I got a good 3-4 years and earn a lot of money. I'm up there. Now we have the Olympics, so I got the 3 or 4 years to go for gold. All right? But if I fail, hey, at least I tried. You got to have that attitude, right? What you don't want to have is, all right, I really want this, I really want this, I really want it. I give it all I got. And then you fail and then you crumble. You know, oh shit, I failed. I couldn't do it. I gave it my all, my whole life. This is my whole thing, and now I got nothing. No. Skateboarding has always been, a lot of people say it's a lifestyle, you know, it's something you do for fun. And today with the Olympics, it's become a sport. So there's that delicate line, right? If someone wants to be really good at skateboarding, why do you want to be really good at skateboarding? There must be a reason, okay? If your reason is, I want to be pro, I want to take that path, then approach that path knowing that there are going to be obstacles and chances of failure. And think, how are you going to pick yourself up if that happens? What's your plan B? All right, if I fail, okay, well, I'm going to give myself time. If I don't do good in this contest, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep trying. But it doesn't happen forever. You can't keep going on till you're 30 years old, right? Okay, or you can say, that's too much of a risk. I'm better off like getting my degree and becoming a banker. And then once I have that money, I'm going to build my own skate park. You know, I got time. And then continue skating and have fun doing it. Okay, all the best skaters I know here, they have fun doing it. They love skateboarding, all ages, you know. And then of course, when you reach a certain level, a certain age, your health, your fitness, everything ties in, you know. So like that all contributes to how good you are. You can be super good, but if your body's in bad shape, you can't skate good, right? So everything all ties in together. So yeah, my advice to anyone who wants to be really good at skateboarding, do it because you love it. I think that's the best simple advice, because if you love it, right? Don't get like jaded or like get that false kind. Oh wow, it's so good to be pro. Pros are really cool. I want to have my name on my skateboard. I want to, you know, everyone like look up to me. I want to get like 10,000, 100,000 followers on my Instagram because I'm super good. That's not skateboarding. You know, do skateboarding because you love it. All right. There's a lot of guys who start out that way, no one really gives a shit. But then on Instagram, you'll find that rare gem. I don't know, there's a Filipino skater from Cebu. His name is Motik. Same on the Philippine team. He's like, live in the slum like Margie, and he's so good. Super good. And then like a Barracks found him, and you know, the Barracks is a skateboard website, and they reposted his post. And then from having like a couple of hundred followers, he's got like 50, 60,000 followers now. He didn't start off with the aim of getting 50 or 60,000 followers. He's just super good at skateboarding because he loves skateboarding. And then his friends film him, he posted on Instagram, someone saw it and blew up that way. So see, that's a classic example. He's doing something because he really loves it and he excels in it. It's not like, oh, I want to do this to become famous and rich and whatnot. Because you watch his videos, he skates in the slums. It's not like some nice skate park like this. It's like, he's funny, He skates weird stuff. He skates everything basically. But like it's earned him the respect of his peers and pros around the world. And so that's why he's like on the map now. People know who he is because of who he is, not because of what he does. Okay, so I guess that's the thing. And we all have to accept not everyone's a Mozart. Not everyone can be Michael Jordan, right? Not everyone can be like, you know, a protege. So if you like skateboarding, just skate and do your best and love it. And don't get so bummed if you can't do certain things. Look on the bright side of skating. When you're 52, like me, you're thankful I can still roll on the skateboard. It could be worse, right? So I'm thankful every time I can still roll around. I like that.
Okay, that was detailed enough. Okay, so next question is, this is second last question. Who do you look up to most?
Who do I look up to most? My God, that's really hard question for me. Seriously,
you can have more than one
hard
name.
question.
Okay.
There's so many people. I mean, it depends. It really depends. Like, I kind of like, you know, like a lot of people say, okay, I look up to my parents a lot, or my mom. Okay, because being a dad now, all the sacrifices they did for me when I was a kid, I didn't see it until now because I'm a dad now. So I mean, I think parents always up there, right? You can never change that because like what you do for your kids, nothing can compare. Okay, and then like in my daily life, I mean, it depends. You know, like I'm really into health and fitness, so I look up all these people, how they do health and fitness. So there's a few names I can drop about health and fitness, right?
Or what about rephrasing the question, the greatest impact?
Greatest impact to me.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard question too, because you know there's no one person that really like, oh, he really inspired me, I want to be like him, right? Right. So like some people say, oh, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, or you know Bill Gates, and you know these are all very incidental people that happened over the, you know, that became really successful over my lifetime, you know, and they really stood out. But what I noticed, like all of the people, like kind of successful, they follow their dream. That's one thing, and they are willing to take certain risk. So I wouldn't really tie it down to one person. All the different people I read about or look up to or try to get inspired from, they really believe in what they're doing, and they're willing to give their all for it. And at a certain point in time, they're willing to take a lot of risk to move forward with what they believe in. And those people, if they make it, they became very rich. They became very successful. Your Elon Musks or your Bill Gates of the world, right? They did that. And of course, there are all these other people that failed too. The guy that did McDonald's, for example, they made a movie about him.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah, so you know, it's like, but then what's the lesson learned? The lesson learned is like, all people who are successful, you know, you can't sit on your ass and procrastinate and just dream of being successful. You know, you visualize something and you want to make it happen. You really have to think of how to make it happen. And I don't know. I'm kind of like trying to live up to that, to do that. But personally, it hasn't really happened yet. But like in a lot of aspect of my life, it has happened because like I had a vision for this many years ago, and with my friends, their vision was owning a business, a skateboard business. So like we work together, you know, like we grow together. They grow their skate business, right? I grow the scene, right? Because I believe, imagine if Hong Kong didn't have any skate parks, there wouldn't be that many skaters, and there wouldn't be that many skate shops, right? And this is just Hong Kong. You look at the whole China, the whole Asia, the whole globe, right? There are many people around the world doing exactly the same thing I'm doing. You know, you build it, they will come, right? So it's like people, like-minded people working together with the same goal makes a better world, in a way, right? So I think I can't really answer that question, who's really impacted me most, but I think I'm too old already, right? But I've looked up to different people in my life, you know, reading books about certain people, even Phil Knight from Nike. I was like, wow, you know, he was amazing. How he started off like just hustling shoes from Japan. Now he's like the sneaker king. I read his book. That could only happen at that period of time. Now, if it wasn't Phil Knight, it would have been someone else. But it couldn't happen now because, you know, Nike is established, right? You know, it had to happen at that point in time. It wouldn't happen at any other point. Okay? So it's like, you take away from what he did, the good and the bad. I read the book about Steve Jobs. Phil Knight, Steve Jobs. I mean, everyone sings their praises, but they weren't nice people, right? They were sometimes ruthless. Sometimes they have to be, right? So like, you take all this in, right? Maybe reason for my, I wouldn't say failure, but the reason for my inadequate success is because I'm not ruthless enough. That could be a reason. You know, some people are very ruthless. They go for it regardless, no matter what, right? Because they see that goal. But some people, they will hold back because they see the whole picture, how it would impact or affect other people, right? So yeah, I don't know. I guess I look up to many different people, but I just try and see the positive aspect of those people. I wouldn't just tie it down to one person. Of recent, I look up to a lot of people advocating health, because 4 years ago I had lung cancer. I don't know if you know about that.
I didn't want to ask though, but
no, it's okay. It's okay.
Already, so.
I tried to advocate health to the kids, especially with the skate kids. A lot of them smoke. A lot of them, you know, they think it's cool. I thought it was. I started smoking when I was 12, 13. Didn't stop till I was in my 40s. And look what happened to me. I ended up with lung cancer. So I got a second chance, right? I'm trying to be healthy. I hope I am. And share my story with these kids. The skate park in the evenings, you see a lot of kids smoking. You know, I mean, I'm that annoying uncle type figure that sits next to them and say, hey, you know, you shouldn't smoke, see what happened to me. And you can tell they're like, oh shit, you know, here he goes again. But what else can I do? It's better I do it and they hear it, and maybe one day it's gonna snap them out of it. You know what I mean? Why not? Why not share? It's not something I'm ashamed of. Something that happened to me as a direct result of my behavior, of my habits. And it could have been so much better if I didn't smoke. So I just want to share that. A lot of people I look up to, they also advocate health and they advocate well-being. So I read a lot of books about this kind of topic, and I try and share it with the kids. I mean, you know, it's I wouldn't really put down to one name, but like at my age, it's not easy to stay fit. It ain't easy at all. So I try and stay on top of stuff.
Okay.
All right.
And the last question is, what is there exciting for you to look forward to in the next year or two, or a couple of years to come?
Well, okay. In the next month, they got the Olympics, right? So that's very exciting, despite that big question mark. Will it happen? Is it happening? You know, everyone I know is already there in Japan quarantining for the Olympics. But then there's still that big cloud of uncertainty. Is it going to go ahead or is it not go ahead? So look on the positive side. If it goes ahead, it's going to be history, right? First time you have Olympics skateboarding. And then that's going to open even more doors, all right? There's going to be more skaters. I hope in the next 2 years, my dream, working with a few friends, is to have a Hong Kong inter-school skateboarding league. You know how you have like swimming, gymnastics, track and field, inter-school? I'm going to put skateboarding in there. You know, it's going to be exciting. Imagine every school you go to, right, have a little skateboarding club, skateboarding team. It's you know, because we should do it. It's a sport, right? So that's kind of like what we're working to right now, to have an inter-school skate league. And then another exciting thing, when this pandemic ends, I can't wait to travel to all the different countries and skate their skate parks. Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, everywhere, building skate parks. Meet the people there. India, I was there 4 years ago. They had nothing. They were skating on dirt, right? Like just flat concrete ground with wood boxes. Look on their Instagram today. In Mumbai, they got 2 skate parks. In Delhi, they got 3. Even India's got skate parks. I'm like, wow, I can't wait to get back there to check out the skating there. And then, of course, back to Hong Kong, we have some amazing skate parks coming. I really thought Meifu, 𝙤𝙪𝙩𝙘𝙘 Skate Park, being the Olympic certified skate park, I really thought that was like the jewel of the crown of Hong Kong. We can do World Championship in that park. I thought, wait till you see what's coming next. It's gonna be the jewel. Just imagine Hong Kong. What's the most iconic about Hong Kong? People think of Hong Kong, what's the most iconic?
To me, it's the harbor view.
Exactly, the harbor view. Imagine a skate park with the harbor view.
Okay.
I think I can only share that much. Just imagine the $1 million view out at the skate park. So it's gonna be there. It's gonna be a certified skate park, same level as Mayfu, and a bowl park. You know, so it's gonna be a combination of a few parks together at the waterline. That's just one. Different districts also building small parks, as mentioned earlier. So very exciting. Skate parks in every major district. So it's going to be accessible to everyone. And that all ties in with what the skate shops are doing, what all the various skateboard schools are doing, what all the coaches are doing, and what we're trying to do with the schools. And then like, it's just like you have basketball courts everywhere. And you know, you have basketball league in school. We're gonna try and do that with skateboarding. And I think that's gonna be really fun to see, because what I really want to see before I retire or leave is I want to see like that talent from Hong Kong. You know, that next Tony Hawk, that next 𝙎𝙪𝙩𝙘𝙬, that next Dylan Reader. You know, that kid that's just out of nowhere, that's so talented, blows everyone away. He's here. He's somewhere out there. We just haven't found him yet.
Sounds exciting. Yeah. Well, looking forward.
Yeah.
And yeah, since we're wrapping it up, it has been very insightful. Great meeting you again.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Warren.
Thank you.
Hector, Kinetic Outcome.
Thank you.
And we out.
Our aim is to provide value. So if you like what you watched, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'm also a financial advisor based in Hong Kong, so feel free to check the description box for my details and email or DM. And if ever you need video and photography services, the phenomenal videos you're watching right now are filmed by 𝙎𝙪𝙩𝙘𝙖𝙧𝙀. Lastly, if you love hip-hop music, rap, R&B, singing, whichever that sounds amazing to your ears, because I always do a lot of experiments with it, feel free to drop by my channel at SCF Saint or Saint Crossfade. Appreciate you for being part of this episode and more to come. Till next time.